Hello and welcome to Credit Card Processing 103. In the previous two sessions, 101 and 102, we covered the basics of the industry and also how to do prospecting and get the interest of your prospect. In this session, Credit Card Processing 103, we are going to be talking about statement analysis. Statement analysis is a key component of being able to show the merchant or customer what values and benefits BCMS brings to the table. About 99% of the merchants and customers you will be calling on, they already are accepting credit cards. So then the question becomes, why would they want to do business with you and BCMS as opposed to Chase or Citi or thousands of other payment processors that are out there? We are in a very, very lucrative industry, and as a result, we are in a very, very competitive industry. So when you are facing those two challenges, obviously the industry attracts a lot of big players who see the dollar signs and they get involved in. You see companies like PayPal and Square. These companies didn't exist a few years ago, and now it has become a big component of their overall company strategy. You look at a company like eBay, you look at their financials, all of their profit comes from the PayPal unit, which is their processing arm, as opposed to the actual auction sites that they operate. So it's a great industry. It can do wonders for the right person who learns the industry and knows how to do prospecting and presentations and how to show merchants what's what and the value that BCMS brings to the table, the guarantees that we offer, the 5 guarantees that we offer every merchant. You got to know those. They're on our websites. Take a look at it so you know exactly what it is that we offer our merchants. But as far as the statement analysis, when you look at every statement, there are 4 components of cost that you see on every statement. There's a discount rate, which is in the form of a percentage. There's a transaction fee, which is in the form of a cent. There's a statement and support fee, which is in the form of $1. And the key component is the miscellaneous fees. That's where separates the top producers from the average sales rep is how well you can decipher these miscellaneous fees. Because our competition, they do an amazing job hiding some of the fees that they charge these merchants. And in a few minutes, we will look at some sample statements and go over it in detail. There are 3 types of statements that you will encounter in the marketplace. 2 of them more popular than the other. The first one is a 3-tiered pricing. In a 3-tiered pricing, basically, if you look at the interchange table, which I'm going to bring it up in a second for you guys so you can, on the website, if you go to our website for the interchange table, is actually displayed there for you. Under the Learn Center, there is our interchange fees, and also we talked about the guarantees. These are the guarantees that you guys need to be very familiar with, the guarantees that we offer our merchants. Okay, we talked about this during the last sessions. But as far as rates and fees goes, if you look at the interchange fees, it's all here for you to review, but here's the interchange fee table. There are about 400 different categories of interchange that we have to understand, and here are the categories. For example, CPS retail, and you can see on a 3-tiered pricing how all these categories are going to be bundled into 3 areas of qualified, mid-qualified, and non-qualified. So again, I encourage you, you don't need to memorize this table, but you do need to be familiar with it. You do need to know what's what. And also on a 3-tiered pricing, you need to know what goes into each category of pricing. But to get back into our presentation, the 3-tiered pricing has 3 components: qualified, mid-qualified, and non-qualified. On an interchange pass-through, which is traditionally saved for larger merchants, basically what we do is we pass the cost of interchange to them and add a markup. So instead of tiering all the interchange into three categories, this is the most advantageous pricing for the client because they get the true cost plus a small markup, whether it's 20, 30, 40 basis points on top of interchange. So when a debit card goes in at a cost of 5 basis points and we're charging 25 basis points markup, the total cost is going to be 30 basis points. And then there's another type of statement which is called ERR, which stands for Enhanced Rate Recovery. This is the kind of statement that is usually used by processors who do monkey business. In other words, they're trying to hide fees. They act like it's an interchange pass-through, but they mark up the interchange in certain areas, and really it becomes very difficult for a merchant to understand what they're paying because really the processor is playing a shell game. They're moving numbers around, and it becomes very difficult. But you don't see it very often. The three-tiered and interchange pass-through is the most that you see out there. Now let's look at some sample statements. We talked about miscellaneous fees. Here's a sample statement, and this is a statement from a very large bank. And after you're in this business for a while, you can look at a statement and you know exactly what's what. But when you look at this statement, you recognize the form. It shows the dates of the transactions, how much Visa, MasterCard, debit was processed. So those are the daily transactions. And then here's where the fees are listed. And here's one of my favorite ones. It's called future fees. In other words, this merchant paid $41.87 for future fees. Now, what that is, what it entails, nobody knows. You also see here where it says invoice amount standard, invoice amount rewards, and invoice amount electronic. I mean, obviously, these are additional downgrades. So if you take the fee, the $9.93, and divide it by 409, that gives you what this merchant is paying on that card, which is a markup of 2.42%. So basically, for any standard transaction that goes through, they add an additional 2.43% actually to the cost of the transaction. So here, as you can see, some of the games that are being played in the industry. Here's another statement for you guys' review. This is from Elavon, one of our providers. Basically, you can see the merchant did 63 transactions for almost $44,500. The total fees they paid was $1,489. So the first thing I do is I take the total fees, the $1,489, and divide it by the volume of 44,597. That gives you an effective rate of 3.34%. So this merchant, once everything is said and done, is paying 3.34%. And it's basically an RV resort. So it tells you it's a swipe transaction, card present, which is cost less than card not present. But again, you can see the merchant's paying over 3%, when on most swipe transactions, the costs all fall below 1.8%. Now, let's dig into this statement and see why is this merchant paying these rates. You can see on their base rate, Visa, MasterCard, and Discover, they're paying 1.90%. Okay, so that's their base rate, and that's the discount that they were charged. So 1.90% is what they pay as a basis, and then you can see all the other transactions being added, such as Visa, retail, international chip card, commercial card not present, and you can see all the additional fees that were added. Okay, they also have a PIN pad. It shows what they're paying on a PIN debit, and as you scroll down, you can see they're paying all kinds of fees. They're paying 16 cents a transaction. On PIN debit, they're paying 50 cents a transaction, and it goes all the way down and it shows their total fees that they pay, which, as you saw on the first page, was about $1,400. Now, This can get kind of intimidating, especially for someone who's new to the industry. You go and talk to a merchant, and he puts this statement in front of you after he agrees to show you the statement. Basically, at that point, what are you going to do? If you're a rookie, the only choice you have till you really learn to decipher these statements, if you're a rookie, you got to take the statement from the customer and tell him, "I will get back with you in a day or two with a proposal for the services that we can perform for you." Basically, at that time, you fax this statement to our office, put your name on it, fax it to us, and we will use this statement, number one, to use as a training tool. We go over it with you, and then secondly, we prepare a proposal for you that you can go out there and present it to your prospects. Now, some of the sample proposals, let me bring a sample proposal for you guys so you can see it. Bear with me 1 second. And these proposals basically prepared by our marketing department, and they will provide it to you. Here's a basic raw proposal where we put the numbers together, and then here's the finished product, where this is what will be emailed to you. This is for a city, for example. This is our standard proposal that talks about who the sales rep is, your contact, and all that information. Who are we, what we do, and then you can see down here we actually go and start showing the actual savings and how much to this client with a very low volume, we can save him about $1,000 a year. And you can see in addition it has our guarantees there, some testimonials from our customers, and then it talks about some of the additional products and services that we have. Here's another sample example to a supplier from another sales rep. Again, the same format, the same numbers are put together, but as you can see, this is a larger volume merchant. So as a result, it's a more complicated proposal, but you can see the savings is almost $2,500 a year. So obviously, the larger the volume, the more savings we can show. So initially, as a rookie, what you have to do is get these proposals, send it to our office. Get the statements, send it to our office, and we will put these professional proposals for you guys based on the interchange and pricing, and then you can basically present this to your customer, go over the numbers with you, and as I said, we will use these statements that you send in as a training tool, because when we prepare the statement, we'll go over it with you in detail. So eventually you learn. Your production will truly double or triple once you get to the point that you can become a one-shot closer. In other words, you see the merchant, he gives you the statement, you do the analysis right there and then, and you walk out with the order and the paperwork. Now, since you're learning, you have no choice. You got to leave with the statement, send it to the office, and go back to write the account up. But the ultimate goal is for you to be able to walk in and walk out with the paperwork. The effective rate we talked about, you take the total volume, you take the total fees divided by the volume, and that'll give you the effective rate, which is the starting point. And then this is the standard prospect form that as you learn, you start putting these together so we can see about your knowledge. Are you really understanding this or not? So you basically fill this information. You tell us what the customer is paying right now, what you suggest he's going to pay, and basically this is what you would be using, a sheet like this, when you do the presentation in front of the customer. So you show them here what you're paying, and we're going to drop it down all the way to this rate, and then you catch all the statement and bogus fees and show them the actual savings. We went over the sample proposals, and when you look at our presentation, really it has three components, like any sales presentation. There's an opening, there's a body, and there's a close. The most important part of our presentation is the opening. That is what you say the first 20, 30 seconds when you walk in the business or when you're on the phone calling the prospect, that he decides, I am going to listen to what it is that you have to say. The average businessman gets about 15 sales calls a day. He listens to one or two. So you have to make sure you are that one or two sales opportunities that he listens to, and that's where the opening is so important. If you go to our marketing site, which is designed to help you guys under the training, we have all kinds of information. Your opening has briefly introduction, tell them what you're there for, some human engineering. That's what the opening is. The body of the presentation is pretty simple. That's numbers, dollars and cents, and the savings, and obviously the close. The better job you do in section 1 and 2, the easier the closing part will become. And like anything else in the industry, guys, you got to sell the sizzle. That's where our guarantees come in. You can, if you look at for example, in the world of steak, the meats, you can sell the steak or you can sell the sizzle. The guy who sells the steak is a butcher who basically cuts the meat and sells the meat. The guy who sells the sizzle is basically these top-notch steak restaurants such as Ruth Chris and places like that they go and buy the meat from the butcher and mark it up 3-4 times, and people go and pay the fees and the higher prices because these guys sell the sizzle, whether it's their advertising or it's their environment or basically what it is that they want to get across. And for you, the more effective you become at selling the sizzle, and in our industry, selling the sizzle is the guarantees you provide. In other words, you never have to worry about equipment. You never have to worry about your rates going up unless Visa, MasterCard raise your rates. You never have to worry about outdated equipment. You never have to worry about a contract. Ours is month to month. So those are the sizzles that we sell, and that's the presentation that you provide to the customer and the merchants, and hopefully they will become another brick in your wall, and that is the residual income you're creating each month. So basically that's our training for 103. By now, after listening to our sections 101, 102, and 103, you have a pretty good understanding as to what's involved in the world of payment processing. Obviously, our office staff, our management team, everybody's here to help you guys. Just put the opportunities in front of us, and we'll help you guys close these sales and help you generate income. With that, I thank you. Have a wonderful day, and I wish you all the best with your career with BCMS. Thank you very much.